Hello everyone, welcome to Math Tired Club, where we make all those hard things in math very, very easy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and also turn on notifications so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get notified immediately. Also, I want to thank you for your support, for your comments and everything. Honestly, it gives me a lot of enthusiasm to make good and better videos. So thank you very much. Today, I want to work on absolute value functions and like graphing them with translation and transformation. In my previous video that I'm going to link in the description box below, I talked about absolute value functions. But those absolute value functions were the ones without a horizontal compression or stretch. Today, I also want to work on the ones with a horizontal compression or stretch so that we can fully cover absolute value functions graphings with translation and transformation. You know that you can graph absolute value functions without translation and transformation very, very easily. I also have a video on that too. I'm going to link it in the description box below. So stay tuned and we're going to start. Okay, ta-da, here is my example, guys. So I want you to pay attention to something. The very first thing that you need to do in order to do translation and transformation is the parent function. And parent function is the simplest form of the function that you want to do translation and transformation on. And the thing that, what's the difference between translation and transformation? Translation is a type of transformation where the shape of the graph doesn't change. It's just going to move to the left or to the right. The rest is called transformation, and translation is a part of transformation. So it's like whenever you're talking about like a class of a school or the school itself. So the school, the whole school is called transformation, and class is like translation, a type of transformation, okay? So let's go back to business. The first thing that I'm going to start with is the parent function. So the parent function, which is the simplest form of an absolute value function, is going to be this. Then I'm going to have its chart, x and y. I'm going to substitute the vertex in the middle. The vertex of this is h and k. There are no h's and k's here. And you know that the basic formula, the vertex formula for an absolute value function is this, and h and k are going to present the coordinates of the vertex, okay? So over here, 0 and 0 is the vertex. If you substitute -1 into the absolute value, it's going to give you 1. And if you substitute 1, it's going to give you 1 too. The next step is to go with inside the absolute value part. There is a point that I need to tell you. Guys, whenever there is a number next to x and we want to do that, we have to go by the opposite of order of operation. So it's like we have to first subtract 4, add 4 to all our x's because it's going to move to the right. So we have to do the x minus 4 part. That's what I meant by subtracting 4. And then we have to multiply it by 2, or in another way, we have to do like multiplication by half, which I'm just going to talk about what I'm saying and why do I change it and why do I make it the opposite. Why is it like that? Why are we going backwards, and why aren't we doing it with the order of operation with PEMDAS as we did before? Because if we were going with PEMDAS, we had to first multiply x's by half because we're going to do the opposite here. I will explain why. And then add 4 to all our x's, okay? But we're going to do the opposite here. What's the reason? It's because first, if you factor out 2 here, it was actually this inside the absolute value bar, okay? So it was actually like this. So first you have to go with inside the parentheses. So that's the reason why we go opposite of what PEMDAS says, and we go by opposite of the order of operation, okay, if you want to know the reason. But just remember that we always go by the opposite of order of operation. So the next step would be y is equal to absolute value of x minus 4. As you know, the negative is in the formula, so it's like I'm adding 4. So it was like negative plus 4. So 4 is going to get added to all my x's and it's going to move to the right. So it's like basically whenever we're dealing with inside the bars and inside the absolute value, we're going to do the opposite. But I'm also explaining the reasons to you so that you would know why we do all of these. So I'm going to have the chart and I'm going to copy all my y's from the previous part and I'm going to add 4 to all my x's. And if I want to tell you what is the actual name of this type of translation, it's going to be horizontal translation, 4 units to the right. So it's a horizontal translation, 4 units to the right. I copied my y's from the previous chart and I'm adding 4 to all my x's. So it's going to be -1 plus 4. That is going to be 3. 0 plus 4, it's going to be 4. And 1 plus 4, it's going to be 5. I'm going to graph the function step by step so that you can see the changes. I'm going to be back with the coordinate plane. So ta-da, I'm back with the coordinate plane, and I also changed the color of the second graph so that you can see different graphs and their movements and you can just relate them with their colors. So my first graph is my parent function, which is going to be just this. And then, okay, and then after that, it's going to be the purple one. So it's 3 and 1, 4 and 0, and also 3 and 1, 4 and 0, and this one. Okay, so it's going to be looking like this. Okay, so over here, the next step would be multiplication of 2 by x. But guys, as I said, we are going to do the opposite here, okay? Why is the opposite happening here? Let me first write it and then explain it. So I'm going to choose another color. I'm going to use this one. So then the next step would be over here, y is equal to 2x minus 4. So first of all, I will write the type of transformation. It's a horizontal compression by half. So it's like you're multiplying all your x's by half or you're dividing them by 2. So why is that happening? Isn't the 2 getting multiplied by x? So why are we doing the opposite? Guys, see, if we had something like x is equal to y, then if you wanted to get like 4, x was supposed to be 4 to get 4 for y, right? But if we have 2x is equal to 4, x can be 2 and get 4, you know? So you need a less x, like a number that is smaller for x to get the same y. So it's like you're kind of like increasing the speed of the x's. So with x is equal to 2, you're gonna get the same y. So it's actually like I'm horizontally compressing my graph, and you're gonna see it in the figure as well. So look, I'm going to have x and y. I'm going to copy the y's because the changes are not for the y's, they're for the x's. So, and I'm going to multiply all my x's by half. So it's going to be 3 over 2. It's going to be 2. And it's going to be 5 over 2. And then I'm going to graph it and you're going to see what actually happens. So 3 over 2 is like 1.5. So it's going to be here, 1.5 and 1. 2 and 0 is going to be here. And 5 over 2 is going to be 2.5, which is going to be over here. So as you can see, the graph is kind of like horizontally compressed, and it has kind of like, it has been shrinking, okay? So I'm gonna have it now. This is going to be the function. And then after that, again, I'm going to go by the order of operation. And I'm going to have this. Let me choose another color. Let me change this to something. Yeah, that would be good. So the next part that I need to do is multiplication or division if I'm going by the order of operation. So don't forget that. It's just inside the absolute value bar that you need to do the opposite. So I'm going to have, what kind of a thing is this? It's out of the absolute value bars. So the changes are for the y's. So it's going to be a vertical. It's getting multiplied by 2. So it's like I'm multiplying all my y's by 2. So what's going to happen if you multiply my height by 2? I'm going to get vertically stretched. So it's going to be a vertical stretch by 2, and also there is a minus getting multiplied by it, so we're going to have a reflection over the x-axis. So the changes are for the y, so I'm going to copy all my x's from the previous part. It's 3 over 2, it's 2, and it's 5 over 2. And I'm going to multiply all my y's by -2. -2 is getting multiplied, so I'll do the same thing. So it's going to be -2, 0, and -2. And then I'm going to graph it. So we have 3 over 2 and -2. 3 over 2 is 1.5. So it's going to be here, and -2 is here. So I'm going to have it over here. That's 3 over 2, guys. So, and then 2 and 0 is going to be over here, and 5 over 2 and -2 is going to be here. Now I'm going to plot the points. So that is going to be, as you can see, the graph compared to the previous one has been kind of like vertically stretched, okay? And then the last step. So let me choose a good color. Okay, the last step is going to be y is equal to addition and subtraction if we go by the order of operation. Am I right? So it's going to be this, and then I'm going to have the chart x and y. I'm going to copy the x's from the previous chart because the changes are for the y's and not for the x's. And then I'm going to add 1 to all my y's. So what kind of a translation this would be? It's going to be a vertical translation. 1 unit to 1 unit up. 1 unit up. So I'm going to add 1 to all my y's. So it's going to be -1, 1, and -1. So I'm going to have 3 over 2 and -1, which is over here. I'm going to have 2 and 1, which is over here. And then I'm going to have 5 over 2 and 1, which is going to be over here. And then I'm going to plot the points. So that is going to be my final graph. So guys, I hope you understood there were 2 points that you needed to pay attention. So whenever we start with inside the bars, inside the absolute value bars, we have to go the opposite of order of operation. I also explained the reason why. So it's like we're kind of starting with the parentheses here, and we do the opposite. So when it's getting subtracted by 4, we add the 4. I also explained that part too. 2. And then the next step would be the horizontal compression or stretch. If it's getting multiplied by a number greater than 1, it's going to have like a horizontal shrink, okay, and it's going to get compressed horizontally. And then if the number is between 0 to 1, the absolute value of the number is between 0 to 1, then we're going to have a horizontal stretch. So, and we do the opposite. So if it's getting multiplied by 2, we're going to divide it by 2. And for example, if this was half, we would have multiplied it by 2. We kind of do the opposite, whatever it is. But after that, there is no opposite. We go by the order of operation, multiplication and division. And as you see, we went for this. The changes are for the y's. We multiplied by 2. And the last step over here, it's a vertical translation, 1 unit up, and then we have the function. So I hope you understood this lesson and you enjoyed this video. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and also share this video with your friends. Don't forget to turn on notifications so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get notified. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you very, very much. Have a great day. Bye.